Hello. Okay, this video will be just on the syllabus for physical science. So on the home page, I'm going to find the syllabus again. It's down here under links for more information. Okay, so it's right there. Right, so when the PDF generates, there we go. All right, so you can always make it larger just by clicking over here in the lower right corner or make it smaller. So this time I'm going to make it larger so it's easy for you to see in the video. Okay, so the physical science class will be in room C116. However, if you're in A group or B group, if you're in first block, we'll be eating breakfast upstairs. And I don't know the room number right now, but you'll know it when you come to the building. There'll be a sign by the door, and it will tell you what room to go up to. Okay, on the very first day, I'll be there to help you find that first room. After that, I'll be upstairs just waiting for you. Okay, so physical science is a combination of chemistry and physics, an introduction to both courses. Okay, so the chemistry part is what we will begin with, and that looks at matter, the atomic structure, the periodic table, and chemical compounds, as well as chemical reactions and nuclear reactions. Okay, and the physics part is the second part of the course, and that's where we look at the motion and energy and different types of energy, like wave energy and electricity. All right, so here are our units that'll be throughout the course and their length of time. So about 2 weeks. Motion and forces will be 3 weeks. That'll be, I guess, the longest unit. Okay, so there is a textbook, but I'm not going to really assign it. If you do want a textbook, you can let me know and we can sign one out to you. There is a science fee of $5. You can pay that fee when you pay the school fees for the year. Okay, so materials needed, you just need a section of a 3-ring binder, or you can have your own separate binder for physical science, but you need something to keep the handouts in. Notebook paper, pencils, pens. You need a basic calculator. In the physics portion, we'll be doing some math calculations. It doesn't need to be a complex calculator at all. It doesn't need to be like the ones from math. It just needs to be able to add, subtract, divide, and multiply. You'll also need a ruler with a metric scale for when we're measuring things. So you have your own ruler, and it needs the metric scale because we work with the metric system in science, right? And so if you get a ruler with just inches, you won't be able to measure accurately as you can on the metric scale. Okay, you'll also need earbuds for any time that you might be in class and we're working on the computer and you're needing to watch a video. When I'm in class, we won't really be on the computer too much, just because you'll be on the computer for 3 days of the week. So when we're in class, we're going to try to do the labs and the hands-on activities and that type of thing. But there's always the possibility that I might come in and my temperature's higher than 101, and then I have to go home and somebody else is going to be watching the class. And what they're going to be doing is just putting you on canvas. So you're going to need some earbuds, and you won't be able to share, the school headphones at this point because we're not allowed to share school materials. Okay, so you might need just general school materials like colored pencils, colored markers, scissors, and glue sticks. All right, there is a wish list. Don't know how much you can find these things, but if you can find any Lysol, that would be great. Or Clorox wipes. I doubt you can find them either. But if you can, that'd be wonderful if you could bring some in. Kleenex, paper towels, and Band-Aids are also always very helpful. Okay, so the final physical science final exam. They did end the North Carolina final exam, the NCFEs. So you'll just be taking the EOC that's written by the state. We will still have an exam, and maybe teacher made. More than likely, it'll be made by the county. So it'll be like a county benchmark. Okay. As far as learning in the classroom and remote, you'll be doing the same thing throughout the week, but you'll just be doing it in a flipped version, so that when you're in classroom, you'll be doing activities, and when you go, and the ones at home doing remote will be doing the remote activities. When you come to the classroom, you'll do the class activities that the other group did, and they'll be doing the remote activities that you did. The ones that are fully remote, you'll just be doing the remote activities, of course. Okay, so grades in Canvas, they're there. They're not the same though as the ones in PowerSchool, because the grades in Canvas will be on points. Looking at the grades in Canvas is still very helpful, because that's where you'll be getting your feedback. You'll also know if you've submitted assignments. All right, category weights in PowerSchool. Tests are 40%, are weighted to count 40% of your total grade. There aren't that many tests, and so it doesn't end up affecting your grade a bit. Right? Vocabulary quizzes are 30%. Now, vocabulary quizzes, as I mentioned when I showed you the Quizlet in a former video, they're a good way to boost your grade. If you don't do well on tests, this is a good way to boost your grade, because it's not that difficult to study the Quizlet several times, take several practice tests until you get a good score, and then when you come into the class and take the vocabulary quiz, it should be a pretty good grade. Right? All the classwork, all the lessons, like on Canvas, all that will be within classwork, and that's a total of 30% of your grade. Okay, so the tardy policy will still, of course, be following the tardy policy. There are not bells, so you just need to be mindful of when you're getting to class. No restroom passes in the first and last 10 minutes of class, and the restroom, if you need to use the restroom during class, just let me know, and of course I'll let you go to the restroom. Lab safety. Okay, so anytime that you're doing a lab in a science class, safety is always a concern. Sometimes there's substances that can be harmful. There's also some equipment sometimes that can break easily and also be harmful. So playing around during lab is never, ever acceptable. But we also have another safety concern here at this point, and that's with the contamination from COVID. And so we're going to be wearing full what's called PPE, personal protection equipment. So you'll be wearing gloves, you'll be wearing goggles, and possibly an apron at times. If the substances are harmful, you'll be wearing some type of apron. All right, so you're expected to follow the lab safety procedures at all times. Okay, so cell phones, they're not to be seen or heard during class, unless a particular lesson utilizes cell phones. Now, we'll be using those probably. You'll be using them as like stopwatches. Maybe you might need to be using it as your calculator and stuff. And so it's okay to use it during those times, but they're not to be. Of course, you can't be sitting there texting while a lesson is going on, while I'm presenting an information, or you're doing a lab or something like that. Okay, so class rules. The number one concern, the primary concern, is safety, and of course health safety right now with COVID. I am an older person. If you may have seen me around the school before, but at this point now, because we had several teachers retire last year that were a little bit older than me by a year or two, I am the oldest teacher probably in the building at this point, and so I'm at high risk. I also take care of my mother and my brother at home, in my home, and they are both disabled, and they are extremely high risk due to diabetes and complications with that. And so I'm going to need to be very cautious about this. And so in my classroom, masks must be worn at all times. And if there's an issue with this, we're just going to have to sit down with the administrator and your parents and discuss it, right? I also, worry about your own safety and who you might carry the COVID home to and infect. And so for me, this is a very serious issue. Okay, so we're going to wear masks, follow the recommended hand washing procedure. We're very fortunate that we have so many sinks in our classroom, and that shouldn't be a problem in the classroom. Okay, there's no food or drink in the classroom, which is why breakfast for first block will be eaten upstairs. That way, when we come downstairs, everybody in our room has always had their masks on, and so it shouldn't be in the air. You're going to clean up after yourself, and then just be respectful and minimize disruptions to the class. Okay, so consequences, if it's not following the required safety procedures, in that case, you'll be referred to the administrator, and we can have some discussions there. All right, disruptive behavior, though, will be first, of course, I'll ask you to stop, and if you just stop the behavior, it ends there. No more needs to be said. If it continues, then we'll go with parent contact, and if the behavior still doesn't stop, then that will result in an office referral. Okay, so contact anytime you need to contact me. Email is the best form, but we do have those different forms if you have questions and stuff through Canvas as well. So, and I'd like to get feedback from all of you, which is your favorite forms of contact, before I set up Remind or any other Google Voice, something like that, to see which ones you prefer, which ones really work best. I'd like to hear that from the student perspective more before we decide to add that to the classroom. Okay, so that's the syllabus. And you can always find the syllabus on Canvas. So I'm not going to print out versions of it.